Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Atraxa All Be One action, and today we're playing, well, a completely colorless deck. We're trying to see if we can do any sort of winning, subtracting all the colors from our standard deck here. Hoping to play a bunch of small creatures to pump up a Patchwork Automaton, use Atraxa Skitterfang to give it flying, vigilance, death touch, lifelink, whatever we need. Also using Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter to flash in our spells, Tablet of Completion as a nice way to ramp, and also eventually draw cards for 1 mana, Bankbuster same thing, draw cards, good stuff. Mightstone as well, this can ramp us, it can draw cards, it can remove creatures, and then lastly we also have a bunch of non-basic lands here, all with some sort of function. Mishra's Foundry can be nice to get in that extra bit of damage. We also have Blast Zone here as a way we can put on a certain number of counters to try and blow up our opponent's important tournaments. And then lastly, we have Karn as our planeswalker of choice here to help ramp us, but also find us important cards. I don't think we'll be able to get the ultimate off here today, but let's go ahead and see. I don't necessarily recommend playing this deck, but I thought it would be really funny to try and see what we can do in ranked. So there'll be a full deck tech at the end of the video, so stick around if you're interested in that. If you enjoy arena videos, consider subscribing, because we try and make videos very frequently on this channel. But getting to that topic, I was going to say that for this week, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with videos. So unfortunately, my plan is instead of trying to make a video every single day, we will try to go ahead and I will try and put on the community page like a link to a video that I for like a standard deck that I thought was really interesting. I already have like 2 decks in mind, so we play a non-basic land, so we get to gain some life. That's kind of why we're playing the Spectrum Sentinel. Funny enough, it's basically the only reason we're playing it. We have 23 lands, so we're slightly short on lands, but we're playing a bunch of 1-drops because we're hoping to pump up our Patchwork Automaton pretty dramatically and quickly. We could attack here if we wanted, but then we don't have a blocker. We gain some more life. Spectrum Sentinel already putting in work. It can also, it's protection from multicolor, so it can chump away at like certain cards. Go ahead, play out the Blast Zone here. Play out another Spectrum Sentinel. This gains a counter whenever we cast an artifact. It also has Ward 2, so it's very hard for the opponent to remove. Play out this because it's also good at chump blocking. This enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it. When it dies, if it had, or you can put those counters onto another creature you control. That's that's our 1-drops here so far. We got a Karn in hand, which is kind of nice. Opponent seems to be a sort of Orzhov life gain deck in a way. Block with the Iron Apprentice, put the counter on that. They could go ahead and remove that card from our graveyard, which is a little unfortunate, but be okay for right now. Alright, what is the right play here? So we play out Karn, they're probably just going to beat into Karn as part of our problem. I'd like to play out the automated Artificer as like a chump blocker, but may have to take a break here and just let the opponent beat in. I mean, Karn can help soak up some damage and ramp us 1, which is something. And then we can use that Power Stone to help put enough counters on this Mirix, or sorry, this Blast Zone to blow up our opponent's graveyard trespassers. Or the Shieldred, I guess, is the next target. We need to put 3 counters on our Blast Zone, which is going to take 2 turns. So if we want to blow up the graveyard trespassers, that's much easier. These aren't both going to die, so I think this is still a worthwhile trade. Mishra's Foundry is nice. Go ahead, tick up Karn again, I think. We got one of the graveyard trespassers down, so I don't think we're going to worry about that. We're just going to focus on getting rid of the Shieldred with this Blast Zone if we can. Karn, you're doing a great job of soaking the attention of our opponent, but we might just stand a chance of finding some things to answer everything. Nope, they get to return their graveyard trespasser from the graveyard. So maybe we are going to try and blast down the graveyard trespassers. Opponent can try and attack in, but we're just going to block with Patchwork Automaton on the graveyard trespasser. But we could also get rid of the Shieldred here for free, which is something. But I don't think we need to worry about Shieldred quite yet. Shieldred can have it. This next thing we have to worry about is our life total.
Treachery befalls us.
Yeah. Ouch. Play this. Now we got quite the set of blockers. Alright. Our Shieldred here is gonna do Shieldred things, make this quite difficult to sit around here. Spectrum Sentinel has put in a ton of work gaining us life here whenever opponents played non-basic lands. They're gonna kick this again to get back the Graveyard Trespasser another time, because why wouldn't they? Alright, the question is, do we want to blow up their Shieldred or the Graveyard Trespassers? And I think the answer is that they're Shieldred. Huh. Didn't give us a chance to activate this on let's do this. Bye bye Shieldred. And then we can crew this and then tap the other one. Make it a 4/4. Though I think we're just gonna our plan here is just to go in with the Patchwork Automaton. Yep, the opponent can just eat the damage because they gain like 14 or more life, thanks to Shieldred and their Graveyard Trespassers and their Luminar Veteran and their Missionary. His opponent, I suspect, has been scarred by Mono Red, so that's why they endeavored. I forgot that the enters flipped because of well, it's gonna get rid of our creatures instead of their Shieldred because they probably have a way to get it back from their graveyard, aka a freaking Missionary. We can block with the Mishra's Foundry if we need to, because we can make it a 4/4. I would hover it, but wait until our opponent's attack in. Alright, yeah, we can do this. Make this Mishra's Foundry a creature. And then a target attacking. Oh wait, that doesn't work. Okay, my bad. This is target attacking gets +2/+2. Alright, well, in that case, we can just pass the blockers, block like this. You get to gain a bunch of life, but for us, that's not what we're worried about. Circuit Mender gains us life, gives us another artifact to play. We could attack in again with the Patchwork Automaton. It's a little bit risky, but kind of need to do something about their life total. Again, we don't draw a card, so they get to flip their graveyard glutton, or they flip between night and day. It's very annoying. What has our opponent even done to draw cards? Oh, it's the Phyrexian Missionaries. They've got a card back from their graveyard to hand, like 2 turns, or 3 turns. Angel of Wrath kicked, that's gonna blow up our Spectrum Sentinel, probably. I would suspect. Yep, despite it having a multicolor kicker, it's a monocolored creature. So it doesn't have like the gold border, and it doesn't have a mixed mana cost here. Gets to exile that from our graveyard, dealing 1 damage. Get to block like this. Pass the damage. And then for that, we'll go ahead, create a Might. Okay, thank you, Wizards of the Coast. I wasn't planning to activate the other one. Alright, thank you again, Wizards of the Coast, for auto-tapping Mirrex for the millionth time. Alright, so we just need to hold up blockers at this point. Because we're not doing so hot. Opponents are nearly at 40 life after we hit them like 3 or 4 times with the Patchwork Automaton. Good stuff. Doesn't really matter what we tap here because the other Mirrex got tapped when we played our Circuit Mender. 4 mana, 3 mana, 2 mana, 1 mana. Alright, again, we can't do anything here, just pass turn. Doesn't really make a difference. Let me go ahead and pass turn first. There's no limitation of when we can activate this. But in that case, we'll go ahead and do this now. I double tapped our mirror, or tapped one of our Mirrexes, great. Forgot for the millionth time. I mean, they can just probably, they can't actually attack in with everything. Then they lose their Luminarch veterans, but then they could send them to flyers, which would honestly be an upgrade, because then they can start smacking in from the air. And if we block them and they die, they drain us for 1 because of the last hill core. So I think they might just have lethal here. If they attack in with everything, I think we die. Because they can exile 2 creatures from the graveyard, draining us for 2. We have to block everything in a way that basically makes them die. And then we die. There they go. Exile their 2 creatures. Basically guaranteeing death here. I think we can do this. So we die because they play down their graveyard trespasser and kill us. Oi, caramba. We held our own against that Orzhov deck for a little longer than we probably should have, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We did respectable amounts of damage to them, but they also gain like 40 life over the course of that game. Alright, Crystal Grotto is a nice land to have. The rest of this seems pretty good. Opponent goes first though. Ooh, that's a good card. Another Crystal Grotto will take. Yeah, Spectrum Sentinel. Spirit. Dry. Tablet, actually, I kind of like that. Go ahead and do a little ramp. Let's get that down, rolling. Play this down. We'll have 5 mana at our disposal next turn. Double wedding announcement is not fair. It's no good for us. Let's get an oil on this. No tax. Oh, Takashi is welcome. No, another scroll tile. This doesn't really make it too much of a difference, but fine. There's nothing we want to give like lifelink, death touch, vigilance, or whatever. But I don't see a game or like a way that we don't lose this one. We should have ticked up, play the Blasto and put 2 counters on it or something. The only thing that would save us here is if we had a Filigree Silex in our deck, because then we could blow up all their tokens. Yeah, we could try and blow up their things, but a lot of our things are 2 or 3 cost. Yeah, I don't know what to do here, I'm not gonna lie. I think we're just dead. Like, how do you beat this? Wait a minute. I didn't mean to do anything. Lifelink, vigilance. I really didn't mean to remove that oil counter. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? I need to send a bunch of creatures to the graveyard, I think, and then we can make our trash bot big. Opponent had the absolute freaking nut draw. You can only activate that as a sorcery. It's kind of cursed. Urza. I guess we can toss this out there. But first, let's give this, I don't know, flying, lifelink, attack in, bonk, end turn. We just need to survive. And then give it flying. They're gonna get rid of the trash bot, aren't they? You should remove a blocker, realistically speaking, but fine. Opponent, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. They have literally 15 creatures that are 3/3s that they can just swing in with because they got double wandering or wedding announcement and freaking double Scroll's Hive. I don't have enchantment removal. Was gonna say I got inspired to try out this like whole colorless challenge by I think it was channel goes by strictly better MTG or whatever. But their brew definitely seems like it would be much better than this because they didn't go for the creature route. They went for the colorless control player, Karn Silex play, filigree Silex, like defend and whatnot. Cut down the Spectrum Sentinel. Let's just get this going. We're gonna need card draw this game. Doesn't really make much of a difference now, does it? Actually, it makes a small difference, but... Alright, now we can start drawing cards with our tablet. We got Karn on the battlefield. If we can defend Karn, we might actually get an ultimate here, and that might be the key to our victory. Or not. Bye-bye, Bankbuster. Dreams of Steel and Oil. What a perfect card against this deck. Everything is an artifact or a creature. Or an artifact creature. Brilliant. Okay. Okay, a little bit less brilliant, but we'll work on it. Next turn we can play the Mightstone and Weakstone out. Get rid of their Flesh Gorger, their Shieldred. Karn's gonna take a beating. Karn's gone. No, Karn's not gone. He's just most of the way gone. Yep. Wow, this is a hard block to make. Oh, pay. Hold on. Control Z. Pay. Damn, that is like all of our mana. Whatever. -2. Get out of here. Or -5. Get out of here. Yeah, you get to draw a card. You turd. Power Stone. Skitterfang. Or Bankbuster draw. We'll do Bankbuster draw here. Ooh, Liberator. Gives all of our spells flash. May cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Wait, that's our entire library. If they attack him with Flash Gorger, we can kill it. Just gonna evolve their sleeper. They don't attack at all. Alright, my turn. Yeah, why not Scry? Nope. Not exactly what I'm looking for. What do we want to do? Another Power Stone sounds good. These things just keep ramping us to the shmoon. We can go ahead and pay 2 mana, I think. We have plenty of mana to go around. Do this. Alright, cool. So we got a whole Flash army. Granted, we may have wanted the 4/4 Bankbuster as a blocker, but I think we'll be good. They'll never expect the Urza Battlethopter. Will this work? Will we be able to blow out our opponent? Stay tuned. Oops, they put mana into the second one. I won too many times. That's embarrassing. You'll never expect this. Do 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 da da. Da 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 da. We can cast out Automated Artificer here, I think, probably fine. Everything gets a +1 counter. Not really everything, but just Urza's Battlethopter and the Patchwork Automaton. And then we chomp. You can draw cards with your Evolved Sleeper, while we can draw cards with our Bankbuster and our Tablet of Completion. I'll go ahead and put this on the Spectrum Sentinel. Yeah. Get your free card is my turn. Scry. Skitterfang's not bad. You can flash one of those in. Draw a card. So actually, we might want to play the Skitterfangs on our turn. Really depends. I keep on taking up Karn just so that they keep going for it, you know? And then we can play out this. And then I have a grand plan here. This is my grand plan. What we do here is we go ahead, remove a counter, target this, give it flying, take action, remove a counter, give it vigilance. Let's give it vigilance. Our opponent, we got a dub. We got a dub with colorless. Our opponent concedes at the flying vigilant patchwork. Karn did it. Look at all the mana we had. We were drawing a card. We were drawing 2 cards each turn. We could have even digged with Karn at that point. I mean, there's no way that I don't think we would actually easily win this game at all. I think our opponent is just sick of not instantly winning. They're like, what the heck? I'm gonna take 8 damage this turn, probably 9 damage next turn or something. Flying and stuff. We can give more counters for Skitterfangs, which can keep this going. Opponent doesn't have an answer for a massive flyer, so. But I mean, hey, it worked. That's a dub with colorless. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more games in here, and maybe a 1 more win. I didn't expect this to win. The colorless creatures win. There's like a million ways you could just make this deck better by introducing like one color and it wouldn't be like a problem, but where would be the fun in that? Come on now. Oh, this hand's questionable. We go first, so this isn't terrible in some ways. Play out the Spectrum Sentinels to start gaining life. Assuming our opponent might be playing multicolor. Yes, that's a non-basic. We start gaining a little life here. Opponent's staring at it in disbelief that they got gotcha'd by a Spectrum Sentinel. Opponent playing white though, I'm wondering if they're a toxic deck. It's kind of funny though, we have enough colorless lands to actually do like this in standard. Ossification, where's it coming at? Spectrum Sentinel or... Really? What? That seems like kind of a mistake to me, but fair enough. Keep the aggro going. You can flash in Urza's Battlethopter next turn. Or on their turn. Thank you for the +1. A little sneaky switcheroo. Don't need another blast zone. We have 23 lands in this deck. I feel like we're flooding hard in this game. Go ahead, put a counter on our blast zone, one of our blast zones on their turn. Next turn we'll have the Might Stone and Weak Stone to draw some. If we do put a counter on blast zone here, it can technically blow up their ossifications, which would be pretty good. Oh, whoops. Meant to do the blast zone. Kinda screwed it up. One counter. Only need one. Auto pay. There we go. It is annoying though that if we do blast zone, we will be down down a land. But I think before we blast zone, we'll go ahead and play this, draw 2 cards. Because this might give us a 2-drop that we can play. That's a 2-drop we can play. Boom. Flawless. Perfect. And then we can blast zone, wait a minute. We've just played out a 2-drop into a blast zone that we plan to detonate. Maybe we don't detonate the blast zone, and we keep ticking it up to 3. That's probably our better idea. Wedding Announcement's gross. That card is busted. Busted. Alright, so we can flash out stuff if we need to. We will go ahead and wait till their turn. Now we might take up our blast zone to 3 and then just blow up everything 3 cost. Yeah, we're blast zoning at 3. Sounds good to me. Do we want to do one of the other blast zones and put 2 on them? Let's do that. Just so that we already have one at 2. And one now at 3. Bye bye Lauren. And then we can go ahead and cast out a Liberator on their turn. That is a bit obnoxious that they're going to go for the Spectrum Sentinel. No, they don't. Damn, they go for the mana. Weird. I would have thought they would want to go for the creatures. what do we want to do here? We can potentially grow our automaton and send it to the air. It sounds like a good idea. This also grows our Battlethopter. We're going on the assault here. And then we can keep this up for as long as we want. The whole sending this to the air and attacking in. Is this gonna be a dub? They've hit like 3 Lorens. What it felt like. 2 Lorens. Sarah Paragon is not a good thing. Alright, well, we can make it bigger. We could also blow up the Sarah Paragon the next turn. Alright, well, we can cast spells as flash. We can go ahead and do this. Give this flying. Swing in. I'm actually swinging with both of these. Our opponent's probably gonna get rid of our Patchwork Automaton in the future here with an ossification from the graveyard. Unfortunately, we cannot grow our Urza Battlethopter here. So we're gonna have to just hold out. I mean, I guess we could have flashed this in to make it bigger, but then we wouldn't have enough mana to tick up and blow up the Sarah Paragon, because we can't really have them going off with the Sarah Paragon. I don't think we can. We're gonna go down at land again though, which is not great. Gain a little life. They choose to play a land and gain like 3 life. Here. They play a land from their graveyard, which is good for us, because that means they didn't Lauren. And if they didn't Lauren, we might actually get to finish out the game this way. That is annoying, but it's only on the ground, so it doesn't matter. We can still blow up their Paragon and send it through the air. Put 2 counters on it. This will do. To say goodbye to that, I'd like to tap you. Actually, Control Z, well, not do that. We will... Actually, we don't need more oil quite yet, so we can wait. Send... Remove an oil counter. Send this to the air. Flying. Swing in with these two attackers. They have no blockers now. Question is, do we just automated Artificer here? I think so. That gives us one more counter on that. We're really close to finishing off our opponent here. And we can send Patchwork Automaton into the air if necessary. Or send, yeah. With putting an oil counter on the creature with the Monumental Facade and then sending it to the air. Or we can send anything else to the air. So realistically, they need to get rid of both Liberator and Atraxa Skitterfang here. Otherwise, we have kind of a guaranteed way to send something flying. I'm surprised we've done so well. Our opponent's deck here isn't making much sense to me. Do they have like a Wandering Emperor? In that case, we need... Huh. If they have a Wandering Emperor, I don't think we can actually win here. That's awkward. Well, that is kind of awkward, is it? Fine. Could have given the Urza's Liberator Battlethopter Vigilance and then swung in for lethal. But if they have some other kind of instant speed removal, we lose. I missed a way we could have potentially gotten lethal here.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I will protect my
They
people.
have the mana to pay for the ward. Yeah. And then they gain 2 life here. We have no way to pump our Urza's Battlethopter. Wait,
I am
wait a
almost
minute.
sad to
What?
see you go.
Oh, I can't count apparently. What caused them? I thought they were at 2 life, and they would have gone up to 4. I am so sorry, opponent, for holding you up. Because I could have completely shut down their plan there if I just gave the Urza Battlethopter Vigilance. But then if they had a Fateful Absence, we would have been kind of sad. So in a way, it was a gambit that probably paid off. Alright, let's go hop into the deck tech. We'll call it there. 2 wins is 2 wins too many. I'm scared. I'm scared to try and win another. We get Goliath Hatchery, because we have finished enough of the Battle Pass. Alright, well, this is the color-free deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go through each of the cards here in a moment. I'll say you probably don't want to play this deck. You can make use of some of these cards in some of the ways that we've demonstrated, but there's generally better options. Like if you want to use Atraxa Skitterfang, just play yourself a little bit of a Steel Seraph here is going to do basically the same thing, and it's like leagues better than Trax's Skitterfang. So that will be my tip to you. There is lots of ways to improve upon this deck, but it was really fun to try it out. Now, for creatures, we got 4 Iron Apprentice. The reason we're playing these Iron Apprentice is because when it dies, it gets with the counters on something else. So this is just really good chump blocker. It's a cheap 1 mana creature. So that's why we're playing it. Again, cheap 1 mana creature that can gain us some life. Seems like pretty good upside. We want a bunch of cheap spells because, as we saw with Patchwork Automaton, every time we cast an artifact spell, we get to put +1 counter on Patchwork Automaton, which creates a big body to go keep on beating in on our opponent. For 2 drops, we can start out with Automated Artificer with some of the coolest looking kind of like geometric art, I think, of Kamigawa, but this is a 2 mana 1/3, so it's a pretty decent blocker, and then it can ramp us. And since we're only playing 23 lands here, it seems like a decent idea to play some creatures that can also ramp us. 2 mana Manadork, that's pretty good rate, and it's a 1/3, so it's good at blocking. Patchwork Automaton, we already talked about this. 2 mana 1/1 with Ward 2, so it's got nice protection, and then it grows like mad. Whenever you're playing artifact spells, you get to put a +1 counter on it, so good stuff. Bankbuster, fair enough, this card is the #1 played card in all of Standard. Uh, it's kind of a requirement if you plan to play out like longer games and not just aggro your opponent down. You kind of have to dedicate like 4 slots-ish to your deck to play this card if you want your deck to perform as best as possible. But yeah, we're a colorless deck, so we love this card even more because it just works. And then we can pay with like Power Stones to go ahead and like crack our Bankbuster counters and draw some cards. Tablet of Completion, this was in a way, if we can get the oil counters on there in a speedy fashion, because we need 2 or more oil counters to get it to act as a mana rock, and then we need 5 oil counters to pay 1 draw card. So in a way, it's a better Bankbuster in that regard. It's a 2 mana, and then we can just pay 1, tap it, draw a card, and we can do that until the end of time. So that's very nice. And then it's a mana rock, but we're only playing 2 of them because we don't our deck full of mana rocks and no creatures. Um, but yeah, this works around oil counters, which makes our monumental facade even better because then we can speed it up by slapping some oil counters on it there. We saw that in that last game. Speaking of oil counters, we also have Atraxa Skitterfang. This card is kind of what has gotten us close to winning some of our games, admittedly, because it's basically a Steel Seraph, a really budget Steel Seraph. It's a 2/2 for 3, but it enters with 3 oil counters. And then at the beginning of your combat on your turn, you may remove an oil counter from it, and then target creature you control gains Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Lifelink. So this is Steel Seraph, but you also have the option to give a creature Death Touch, which is cool. And then we got another 3-drop Circuit Mender. This card is just good value. A 3 mana, 2/3, so it's a decent blocker. It can trade effectively with 2 power. And then when it dies, or when it leaves the battlefield, we get to draw a card. So it's even better than like dying. It says when it leaves the battlefield. So this is like if it gets exiled by Ossification, if it gets exiled by Brutal Cathar, if it gets exiled because the opponent has a Kumano faces Kakazan or whatever they flipped, and it just exiles your creatures when they die, that will still draw you a card, which is nice. Liberator, Urza Battlethopter. This card is a lot of fun to play with because it just turns our deck into a flash deck, which is weird. And then it's a flying threat, which is nice. But yeah, flash flying for 3, it's a 1/2, so it's not really big, but whenever you cast colorless spells and artifact spells, or well, you can cast colorless and artifact spells as those, they have flash, and whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator or is a Battlethopter's power, put a +1 counter on Liberator. So this can allow us to kind of surprise our opponent sometimes with our Patchwork Automaton and Urza's Battlethopter. Like, we swing in with Patchwork Automaton, its power is going to mean it's going to trade with our opponent. We flash in the Liberator Urza Battlethopter, and suddenly our Patchwork Automaton is bigger, and our opponent's creature dies, and our creature lives. So you can kind of pull off those kinds of tricks, which seems cool. And then lastly, we have 3 copies of Runaway Trashbot. This card, we saw it in action to some degree, but it is a 0/4 3 mana trampled creature that gets +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment card in your graveyard. So as our 1/1 or our 1 mana creatures die, they go to the graveyard. This creature turns into like a 3 mana 4/4 with trample, which is pretty good. I'd say that's not bad. So as of like a decent body, 4 toughness means it can block almost anything, which is relevant when you're facing more aggro matchups that you need to live through. So yeah, this Karn, Karn in this deck is hilariously good because we just poop out Power Stones that keep making it easier to play all of our cards out of our hand. And then with these Power Stones, we can crack Bankbuster easier, so we have like not only mana to draw during our turn, but also mana to play out whatever we draw. And then in a pinch, we can go ahead and minus down Karn, search through the top X number of cards, depending on how much mana we feed into it, and pick out the card that we want. So this can help us find just another chump blocker, or like an Atraxa Skitterfang when we need to send something flying or something like that. That's kind of the reason why you'd -1 is you need more cards in hand, and nothing in your hand is good. Or you have no cards in hand. And then if you can get the -7, I think you just kind of win the game on the spot, considering we're playing all artifacts in this deck besides Karn. I think he's our only non-artifact spell. 35 artifacts, 2 planeswalkers, 23 lands. So yeah, 37 cards besides our lands, and 2 of them are planeswalker, 35 of them are artifacts. So if we get this -7, we're gonna rain hellfire on our opponent. It's gonna be hilarious. But I don't think you're gonna be getting that. If you wanted to try and angle for that a little bit more, what you could potentially add is you could add a staff of completion, because then you can pay 3 life and proliferate. And so You could proliferate the counters on the Patchwork Automaton and the Liberator, and the oil counters on the Tablet of Completion, and the oil counters on your facades or whatever, and then suddenly you're a little bit closer to ultimating Karn. But yeah. And then lastly, we saw this card come in clutch, draw some cards, and then just like act as a nice mana rock. Lightstone and Leakstone. Uh, Enters the battlefield, choose one, draw two cards, or target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. This is our Shieldred removal, I guess, and then it acts as a ramp because we can tap it to add 2 mana that we can use to cast our artifacts, which is most of our deck besides Karn. So yeah, so it's nice we can play this, draw 2, and then if we draw into like an automated artificer, a Patchwork Automaton, a tablet, a Bankbuster, we can go ahead and play it out because then we still have 2 mana open. And then lastly, our lands. This land is amazing, just being able to enter the battlefield. Scry 1 is nice. Blast Zone, also amazing, because it enters with a charge counter, and then we can tap, pay XX to put X charge counters on it, so we use this to like add like 2 charge counters or something, and then sorry, yawning. You can pay 3, tap, sacrifice it, and destroy non-land permanents equal to the with mana value equal to the number of counters on it. So this can help us blow up specific permanents if our opponent hits like 2 wedding announcements, and then we can try and blow them up. I think that's what we did against our last opponent there, and it kind of won us the game. And then we also have Mirix here, so we can start creating mites if necessary. Wasn't really super enthralled by this. Mishra's Foundry. This card would be much better if we were playing a much more controlling style deck where we just like play. Darn it, I can't type. Silex. So if you're playing like the Filigree Silex, the Karn Silex, then like the manlands would make much more sense because you're blowing up the entire board and then you're swinging in with manlands. Um, but Mishra's Foundry is like a backup, I guess, for us. Monumental Facade, this card works really well with this deck because we are running a few things that actually care about oil counters, so it actually seemed pretty relevant. Mycosense Gardens, this card can potentially help you copy like an artifact, so that's why we're running it. I don't know if it's really necessary. It seems kind of way too slow to be valuable, especially in standard format that's so fast-paced. But yeah, that's the color-free deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All that great stuff helps. And I will say sorry that I don't think I'll be able to make videos for the next couple of days. I gotta do a lot of things in real life, and we'll get some like work done rather. So in that regard, I will be trying to post videos or like I'll make a community post explaining this just so that people don't like look for a video and then it's not there. But I'll also give a heads up that I will be trying to post uh, on the community page videos that I think you should go ahead and check out as really cool combos, um, or like cool decks to play in standard. Because we all know standard can get really humdrum, the same thing. So there there are some interesting decks that I have found in my hours of content consuming I have done, so I will try and share those with you guys in the meantime. Besides that, I hope to be back and with more decks somewhat soon, as well as talk about spoilers, because spoilers start Wednesday. So spoilers for March of Machines. Really excited to see another set, to hopefully change up the standard meta because I think we're all kind of a little bit tired of Mono Red, Invoke Despair, and Toxic. I think mostly tired. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great, though. But yeah, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.